Are you under Neptune's spell? In today's episode, we are going on a journey, one that will make you wonder if any of this is real. Thank you for joining my channel today. My name is Jennifer. I am an astrologer, a certified personal coach, and a budding herbalist who is here to help you find your best health by connecting your mind, body, and soul. I am going to be talking about Neptune. Things I've noticed now that he has moved into Aries. I know it's just going to be for a short time, but this is going to be a two-part series. So thank you for joining me for part one. Let's get started. So is it just me, or have you been noticing, I don't know, for lack of a better term, time slips, glitches, or even heightened psychic abilities? So Neptune entered into Aries on March 20th, 2025. He will go retrograde July 4th of this year, back into Pisces, and go direct again on December 10th of this year. And we'll finally enter Aries once more for the rest of our lifetime into Aries on January 26th, 2026. And just so you understand that this is very new energy for all of us here, Neptune has not been in Aries since 1861. That's quite a long time ago. So I wanted to go over Neptune, his mythology, and Neptune, the planet. First, his mythology. Neptune is the Greek equivalent to Poseidon. He is the god of the sea, fresh water, and horses. I did not know he ruled over or was a ruler over horses. So in astrology, that's a little different. I believe Mercury rules over the actual animal of the horse in astrology, but in the mythology of Neptune, he ruled over the horse. And just to kind of share a little story that I researched, Neptune and Minerva. So Minerva is the equivalent to Athena in Greece, Greek mythology. They decided they wanted to know who would have dominion over Athens. So, and so in these stories, they're kind of, I know Athens was in Greece, it was not in Italy or Roman Empire at the time. So it's just the Romans kind of took over the stories but inserted their names for the gods. So in the story, they were trying to figure out who would hold dominion over Athens, Minerva and Neptune. Neptune decided he was going to create the horse. So he took his trident, stabbed it into the ground, and out came this beast, the horse. And Minerva, she decided she was going to create the olive tree. First, honestly, for both, that is a great. They both created something very useful for the people of Athens. But in the story, Neptune won. He won by creating the horse. And then also he taught people, once he created the horse, he taught people how to ride the horse. And so there goes the how the horse was made. um he also also on July 23rd of every year, even in modern times, people celebrate the festival Neptunalia, and that is to pay homage to Neptune so that in hopes that he will bring more rains during the summer droughts. So if this year on July 23rd you so feel like it, pay homage to Neptune in hopes that he will bring more rain for your crops or your home or whatever. Rain is always good, so consider it. So let's kind of go into Neptune, the planet. Uh, Neptune is a modern planet in astrology. He was discovered on September 23rd, 1846. He rules over dreams, intuition, spirituality, illusion, transcendence. He's a ruler over unseen realms, things that you can't really see, but maybe have an inkling that they're really there. It's kind of beyond the physical and the rational, like mysticism, imagination, the collective conscious that connects us all together. Neptune. So, one thing about Neptune also is that he rules over enlightenment. And I'm not just talking about religion. So, religion can be a way to find spirituality, but also spirituality is how you find a sense of belonging in the universe, if that makes sense. And Neptune is that planet that helps you reach that. Um, I really consider Neptune as the planet in your chart that really brings out your personal magic. Um, if you have psychic abilities, it's kind of going to show you where in your chart that lies, or the aspects you may have that may make you a little bit more sensitive to those unseen realms. Um, so there are always, I don't want to say positive and negative. I personally don't believe in positive and negative as in good or bad, but I guess the better part of Neptune is that you can find your transcendence, your spirituality, you can access your intuition. But the downsides to Neptune are that there is like a fogginess that he can cause, a delusion, illusion, mm, self-medicating, addictions, and any type of addiction. It doesn't necessarily have to be drugs or alcohol, but Neptune does kind of rule over liquids, so alcohol, um, maybe even losing a sense of reality. And another one too is sometimes bringing in a lot of anxiety, maybe a general sense of anxiety, um, which aren't the funner parts of Neptune. Um, so those are just things to consider. Um, I believe Neptune has a lot of great positivity, but also, you know, unfortunately, Neptune can also bring in some trouble as well. And that goes for any planet, but we're focusing on Neptune today. So, Neptune and Aries. First, I want to kind of explain Aries so we kind of get a sense of what Neptune is kind of ushering in this new energy for us. Uh, Aries is a cardinal sign, the first sign of the zodiac. In Western tropical astrology, Aries is the beginning of springtime. So, Aries can really be seen as that spark of life, initiation, fresh starts, very passionate, fiery. Um, Aries also rules over or can mean like independence, courage, action, leadership. Um, well, he's a fire sign. I forgot to mention that. He's a fire sign. So, Aries is really all about individualism. Um, what you represent as a person compared to everybody else around you and what makes you unique. That is kind of what Aries is trying to bring in your chart. Um, and in medical astrology, Aries rules over the head, the skull, the immune system, and also the adrenals. So, just something to keep in mind. Uh, so, now I kind of want to go over these psychic abilities or time glitches that have been happening. And at first, I thought, oh, I'm going crazy. Okay, maybe not that I'm going crazy, but at first, I thought, like, I'm noticing things that don't seem to track. Like, to be honest, I've always had psychic abilities. For a very long time, I ignored them. All right. But these last few years, I've been trying to um, understand my own psychic abilities, tap into my intuition more, trust myself more. Another Aries thing, like trusting yourself, knowing that you have the answers. So now that we put Neptune and Aries together, Neptune being on the better side, enlightenment, you know, um, spirituality, that idea of all of us being connected together. But now with the fastest moving energy of the zodiac, which is Aries, um, this energy is really in our face. And it's been something that, like, okay, like, I've always, and I really want to know how everyone else is experiencing this. So please, please, please comment below. I would be so happy to see what you have been experiencing because, like I said, I've had psychic abilities for a long time, but once Neptune moved into that Aries sign, it was like, bam, more dreams, more hits in my intuition, um, experiencing more paranormal activity than I was used to. I don't know. Okay, so let's kind of move into this. Okay, so Neptune energy, fast energy. Um, it's kind of helping us ascend right now. And so time slips, okay? So this is something that I've heard other people say. I've seen other videos about it. Never really, oh, that's an interesting topic. But like I said, like now I'm kind of wondering. So a time slip can kind of be defined as like a moment of higher consciousness, intuitive awakening, uh, maybe even messages from your own soul in the past, in the future. Sudden, often unexplainable experiences in which a person seems to move into a different time, either past or future. Altered perception of time, like many minutes have passed, but it's only been a few minutes, or like the opposite. A few minutes have passed and it just feels like time is dragging on. So I I wanted to share a really silly story of my time slip. Um, it's I've actually read interesting stories online of people who have had like really interesting time slips. Like they were here at one area and then all of a sudden they were somewhere else and it made no sense. So mine isn't that drastic, but at my day job, we do Halloween displays in our lobby. And this past Halloween, uh, we made a thing. Our theme was Beetlejuice, and I was tasked to create. I think they call him the Bob character, the one with the tiny head, uh, the one where Beetlejuice um, when he first walked in, he noticed the tiny head hunter. Anyways, so I was tasked to make that doll, or you know, I, not really a mannequin. I had to like piece it together using different parts, but I created the head and everything. And so in one, I can't remember if it was Beetlejuice 1 or 2, but he has like a scarf, and I was like, oh, I have a scarf at home. I will bring it and use it on the little uh, Bob character thing. And so, okay, Halloween happened. Um, some coworkers moved all the items that everybody had made to the back. And in my head, I was thinking, okay, I got to remember to go get that scarf. And let me tell you guys, okay, it's a silk scarf. I thrifted it, I don't know, years and years ago. I literally bought it for probably like $2 or something, like, or $1. The thing, it wasn't anything special, if you know what I mean. So I just kept on telling myself, oh, I gotta go get that scarf because I can use it for something else in the future. And I kept on forgetting. I kept on forgetting. I kept on forgetting. And I don't know. One day early this year, I decided I remembered I'm gonna go. They put all the items up in like an attic area that we have at our job, at our work. And so I went up the stairs and I found the Bob headhunter thing. And when I walked up to him, he didn't have the scarf anymore. And I was like, who threw away this scarf? Like, they could have asked me. And then I was kind of like, okay, fine. I guess somebody decided it wasn't worth keeping. I mean, it's an old scarf. Somebody either threw it away. Maybe somebody took it because it had been there so long that they thought, oh, whoever brought it, it didn't want it. So I was kind of left like, oh, my scarf. But at the same time, I was like, okay, whatever. It's just a stupid, silly scarf. Okay, so after March 20th of this year, I um I got into the spring cleaning mode and I started to clean um this table I have by our front door. So I don't it's like a little table that has a drawer in it and some baskets, and sometimes I just kind of stuff things in there, and I was like, okay, I'm going to clean this out cuz it's messy. And once you know that when I started cleaning that damn table, the scarf was in there. And I kid you not, I don't remember getting the scarf. And okay, maybe you're listening to this story and you're like, you're crazy, you lost your mind, you just don't remember, which could be true, I guess. I mean, I don't feel like I've lost my mind. Um, but I was just kind of taken aback because I clearly remember telling myself, hey, Jennifer, you need to remember to go get your scarf. And I remember going up there and it was gone at some point. And I was like, who would have taken that scarf? And then all of a sudden it's in my drawer, in that drawer. And I'm like, no, I know. I know I did not. I don't remember getting the damn thing. So, all to say, that's my story of a time slip, okay? I hope you have better stories of time slips. I just found it interesting. And it's nothing big, guys. Like, it's not like this transcendent glitch in time that I'm like, whoa. No, it's like little things like that. And I've read other stories online who've had similar, obviously not exactly like my story, but little things like that don't make sense, that aren't adding together, aren't meshing. And I'm not the only one. And I've just started to notice this more since Neptune entered into Aries. Like I said, I wonder if you've been experiencing the same thing. Um, so back to the psychic abilities as well. I've always been a psychic person, if that makes sense. Like in my natal chart, Neptune actually conjuncts my Mercury. The only thing is for a long time I kind of ignored these abilities for myself. I was afraid of them for a long time. I intend to make more videos to kind of talking about that, and maybe you're experiencing or have experienced certain things similar to like not allowing your intuition in. But we'll talk about that some other time. But I've noticed since Neptune entered Aries, it's like I'm getting hit after hit after hit. Like listening to my intuition. Um, I'm having dreams now that uh more often that mean something. Um, Something else that I've kind of been hearing about is like ringing in the ears, flashes of light. Um, that I know I have been experiencing more. Other psychics have been experiencing that. And it, like, as far as my eyes go, I do get my eyes checked, and there's actually nothing wrong with my eyes to, like, explain why I might see flashes of light every now and then. I actually go to a specialist for my eyes, and my last checkup, he said I have perfectly healthy eyes. So the flashes of light, like, it could be psychic, it could be something else. I don't know, but I've heard other people talking about it too. And I've been seeing that a lot more lately. And another thing that I have been experiencing more is paranormal activity. It's just like the other day, I was walking with my mom, and on this road where we walk at, like, I wouldn't say it's always like lonely, like solitude, but that day, it was just us walking down that road at that time. And I kind of had looked over, and all of a sudden I feel like a hand on my shoulder. And so I looked over really quickly because I wanted to make sure my mom was okay. Like maybe she was pressing my shoulder because she got unbalanced or something. And she didn't. She was fine. I'm like, Mom, did you touch my shoulder? And she's like, no. So, I mean, and then, yeah, anyways, it's just weird, really odd things. So, to kind of go into the history of Neptune, uh, maybe to kind of explain a little bit, not not really explain other than the explanation I already gave, but to kind of give more context on what might be happening or related to a different time frame is when Neptune was in Aries in 1861. And wouldn't you know, like food for thought, um, Neptune entered, oh, like I said, Neptune entered into Aries in 1861. And so back then, for people, Neptune had been in Pisces, right? And that was also a time where a lot of us started gaining more psychic abilities. What I really, after doing this research, I really feel like the people back then were experiencing a lot of the same things we're experiencing now. But of course, nowadays it's more modern, we have more technology. But back then, I don't know. Okay, so let me share. Let me share this stuff with you. Spiritualism began around the 1840s, which would have been Neptune and Pisces, but really surged when Neptune entered Aries in the 1860s. I hope I said 1840s. Oh, 1840s, and then now 1860s. Um, just a little fun fact. The earliest known spirit photographs were taken in the US in 1861. So, one thing I forgot to mention is that Neptune rules over photography and film. And isn't it interesting that the first photo spirit that came about around that time happened when Neptune entered into Aries? Okay. You can't make this up, y'all. So, the definition of spiritualism is the belief of and practice in the occult or having a deep religious affinity. Um, Spiritualism started when Neptune was in Pisces at about 1848. And it's just, you know, what Neptune will also bring in Aries, I guess we'll find out we'll see if there's something I kind of don't want to get into in this video, but I mean, there's been more religious affinity, if that makes sense. um, I'll be honest, I'm not religious. I did grow up Christian, so I understand the religion. But it's not something I follow too much anymore, and I hope to one day explain that a little bit more. But if we kind of think about spiritualism back in the 1840s, 1860s, there something happened to these people, if that makes sense, to our ancestors, that they started believing that they could contact the dead. And nowadays you can probably just find a psychic and call them up and maybe talk to a loved one if you so desire, if you believe in that. Um, but maybe back then it wasn't as easy. And it just, I don't know, it just really makes you think that maybe they were experiencing time slips, glitches in reality, heightened psychic abilities, feeling more paranormal activity, that they decided that, excuse me, that they decided they needed to find a way to contact their loved ones, spirits of any kind, channeling. I mean, that time frame, that, not to mention like the American Civil War started when Neptune was in Aries. So, a lot of people were losing a lot of loved ones at that time. And it's kind of like something happened back then too that really made them want to contact that unconscious, that dream reality, that unseen realm. And I'm kind of curious to see what else Neptune and Aries will bring us as far as that goes. Will there be proof of life beyond this realm, you know? Um and I don't mean like aliens, I mean like, you know, life beyond death. Will something come up now? Like if the photograph with the first, not the first photograph, but the first photograph of like spirit, what they called spirit photographs. If that happened in 1861, and whether you believe those photos or not, I mean that's for another story, but it's neither here or there, right? It's just a known fact that that's when they tried to prove that there was life beyond death. So what else may happen for us? Will there be some other way to prove that there's, or some search for life beyond death? I don't know. I just find it so interesting to think that back then they were experiencing the same things. So one last thing before we end this video, I just kind of wanted to go back into the meaning of the horse. Um, just like the horse that was given to humans from the god Neptune, there really is a part of us that is here to live physically. But there is also a part of us that is here to reach deep into our spiritual plane, our spiritual life. And it's always available to us. Spirit is all around us. And energy is always around us. And the horse represents freedom, you know, um, courage, just a wild animal that just is independent, living its own life. So kind of think about that. Neptune in mythology created the horse, kind of reach into that idea of what the horse, the animal, represents to you and reach into that and see if you find anything magical about that idea. So, thank you for watching my video today. Please like and subscribe, and I appreciate you for being here today. Thanks. Bye.